the last unit that we have. This is going to be split up into two sections. So you are actually going to have the first set of information for this unit, and then you'll test over it. And then we'll do the last part of this unit. Okay? So unit 6A. And it is just math modeling. We're going to start with the composition of functions. So if you'll turn to page 2 in your packet. What is a composition of a function? It is the process of combining two functions. And a function is just an equation. That's what we've been using all year. And I spelled combining wrong. Let me fix that. Combining two functions. Basically, you're just going to place one function in the place of x, and that's all that you have to do. So let's go ahead and practice this. If we're given a function f of x, which is y, is equal to 2x minus 3, what are the following values? Well, we want to know what f of negative 2 is. So if you look back right up here, f of x, this is the same thing as f of x. But instead of having x in for the x value, we're going to plug negative 2 in. So 2 times negative 2 minus 3. And you just have to remember your order of operations. 2 times negative 2, negative 4 minus 3. So negative 4 minus 3 is a negative 7. All right. Number 2, f of negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 minus 3, order of operations, multiply first. You get negative 6 minus 3, so negative 9. And that's our answer. All right, the next one. If you're given the function f of x is equal to negative 3x squared minus 8x plus 1. We're doing the same thing. Our equation is just a little bit bigger. So we're going to plug in negative 5 for every x value. So we have negative 3 of negative 5 squared minus 8 times negative 5 plus 1. Then just our order of operations, remember, parentheses first. There's nothing to do in the parentheses. Exponents are next, so we need to go ahead and square this. So negative 5 squared is going to be 25. And that's still going to be multiplied by negative 3. So negative 3 times 25 minus negative 8 times negative 5 is a positive 40, because a negative and a negative gives you a positive, plus 1. All right? Negative 3 times 25 is negative 75. Plus 40, plus 1, and if you put that in a calculator, or if you go ahead and figure it out, it's going to be negative 34. All right, the next one, f of 2, so same thing again, negative 3 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 1. Go ahead and square that first. That's 4. So negative 3 times 4. Negative 8 times 2. Negative 16 plus 1. All right. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative minus 16 plus 1. Go ahead and combine that, and you're going to get a negative 27 is your answer. So this should be fairly easy to you. You're just putting in. All right, so we can add and subtract and multiply and divide all of these. All right, so we're going to do f of x, or we're going to divide f of x and g of x. All right, so we're given f of x right here, and we're given g of x right here. Now, all we have to do is do what this is telling us to. And if you look, we're just going to add f of x and we're going to add g of x. So we have 3x, I'm putting some extra marks on there, 3x plus 2, that's our f of x. All right, our g of x is 4 minus 5x, and it tells us to add, so we're going to add them. All we're doing here is combining like terms. So 3x minus 5x, negative 2x, and then we have 2 plus 4, so that is going to be 6. And we're done. The next one, same thing. We have 3x plus 2, and then our g is 4 minus 5x. Now, this is telling us to subtract. Now, the only thing with this one is when we have a negative or a subtraction sign in the middle, we need to distribute it to everything inside there, okay? So we're going to have 3x plus 2. When we distribute that, that's a negative 4. Negative and a negative make a positive, so plus 5x. Now combine like terms. 3x and 5x, we get 8x, and then 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And that's our answer. All right, the next one. Still doing the same thing, f and g of x. So we have 3x plus 2, and then we have 4 minus 5x. Now, if we look right here, it's telling us to multiply. So you can put the little dot there, or just know they're sitting next to each other, it means to multiply. This one is where we're going to do the FOIL or box method, whichever one it is that you like to do. I'm leaving that one up to you. Okay? So I'll go ahead, since I've put the arrows for the FOIL, I'm going to go ahead and show you the box method as well. So that way you have both of them on here. All right. So f of x is 3x and a positive 2. And then g of x is a 4 and a negative 5x. And I should have probably put a little bit more room, but you know what I'm doing. All right, so 4 times 3 is 12, and that's going to be x. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15x squared. Negative 5x times 2 is negative 10x. And remember, you have to combine your like terms, and they're always diagonal from each other. So we have negative 15x squared. Negative 10 plus 12 is a positive 2x plus 8. And that is our answer. We can't simplify that anymore. All right, the last one. We have f of x, which is 3x plus 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm putting this in a division sign because it says to divide. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a fraction, okay? And then it's divided by 4 minus 5x. Now, when you're looking at the division, since we're not given that number to plug in and it's just leaving x as x, I need to see if I can simplify it first. So, in other words, if I can factor, our favorite thing to do, see if you have a GCF first. We do not have one. Next, see if you can, there's a difference in squares or the X method. Those are the different ways to factor. And then we're going to see if anything simplifies out, but there's not. So this one is finished. This is my answer. Okay? So for instance, I'll give you an example real quick, and I want you to write this down somewhere. This is an example of one that we could factor. So if I have 2x plus 4 over, let me say, x plus 2, then I'm going to look and see if I have a GCF. So if I look right here, I do have a GCF of 2. So I'll take out a 2. I'm left with x plus 2. And it's going to be over the x plus 2. And remember, back at the beginning of the year, I could simplify this because it had the same thing here. So I would have been left with 2 over 1, and that would have been my answer, or 2. So that's an example of one that you would do that with. If you can't do that, then your answer is finished. So, all right, let's move on. All right, now we're still doing the same thing. We're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, but we have three functions. So we have 2x, x plus 4, and 5 minus x cubed. Not a big deal. The only difference is now they're wanting us to plug a value in for x. Okay? So, again, we're going to have f of x, which is 2x, but instead of putting x, we're going to put 2 times 2. Okay, so that's our f of x. Our g of x is x plus 4, but instead of x, we're going to put x plus 4. Now, if we look at this, this is telling us to add. So we're going to add that. All right. 2 times 2 is 4, plus, and then 2 plus 4 is 6. We're going to end up with 10. All right, the next one. We have h of 2. All right, so 5 minus 2x, or 2 cubed, sorry, because we're replacing that x with a 2. And then we have g, so 2 plus 4. And we are going to subtract, so make sure we subtract. All right, so 2 cubed, first thing you need to do, that's 5 minus 8. And then you can go ahead and combine what's in parentheses over here, so that's 6. 5 minus 8 is negative 3, minus 6, and that gives us a negative 9. So this is just basic operations. You're just given different functions to do. All right, next one. We have f of x times f of 2 times h of 2. So 2x, which is 2 times 2. All right, we're going to multiply this by h of 2, which is 5 minus 2 cubed. Now, see what's in parentheses first. So we have 4 right here. We know that 2 cubed is 8, so 5 minus 8, that's going to give us a negative 3. And then we're going to still have the 4, so 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. All right, we have h of 2 divided by g of 2. So 5 minus, not x cubed, sorry, 2 cubed over 2 plus 4. All right, so this is going to give us 5 minus 8 over 6. Okay, so 5 minus 8 is negative 3 over 6. And if we simplify that, that's negative 1 over 2. And that is our answer. So that's just the basic operations, okay? Just plugging stuff in and combining your like terms pretty much. Now, when we're composing two functions, or we're going to compose two functions, when we're combining two functions, it can be written two ways. This way and this way are the exact same thing. They're just saying g of f of x, or sorry, f of g of x. So all they're doing is they're plugging in g of x, they're plugging whatever that equation is into the x value for f, okay? So that's all you do on this one. So it's f of g of x. So we have our f of x right here and our g of x here. All we're going to do, this says f of g of x. We're going to plug our value for g of x, which is x squared minus 3. We're going to plug that into the x value in the f of x. So this is going to go into that place. So we have x squared minus 3, and then you have to finish on out the equation plus 2. Now just combine like terms. X squared doesn't combine with anything, so x squared. Negative 3 plus 2, so negative 1, and we're finished. All right, same thing for the next one. So this one says f of x, which is x plus 2. And we're going to plug that in to the x value in g. So we have x plus 2, and that's our x, so x, and that's going to be squared minus 3. All right, now this is for some of you like to get carried away and just go on, okay? All right, we have this squared. That means we're going to have to do the box or FOIL method. So we'll do the box method this time. Okay? So our values are x and 2. And since it's squared, it's going to be the same thing both times. So x times x is x squared. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. And we're going to combine the two that are diagonal. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 4, and then we have to finish out our equation, so minus 3. And then combine your like terms, which is right here. So x squared plus 4x plus 1, and that is our answer. So it's not any different than what we were doing. You're just plugging that whole function in. All right, so the next one. Same thing. This just says f of g of x. So we're going to plug our g value in, which is x squared minus 3. We're going to plug it in to the x value in f of x. Okay? So 5 times x squared minus 3, and then minus 7. Now we need to distribute this 5 to everything that's in parentheses. So that's 5x squared minus 15 minus 7. And then combine your like terms, which is right there. So 5x squared minus 22. All right, the next one. Plug in the x. So 5x minus 7 into the x value in g. All right? So 5x minus 7, and it is squared, so minus 3. Now again, you need to do the box method or FOIL method, whichever one you like. I'm fine with either one, just so long as it helps you. So 5x and negative 7, and 5x and negative 7. So 5 times 5 is 25x squared. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35x. 5 times negative 7, negative 35x. Negative 7 times negative 7 is a positive 49. Then combine your like terms, or combine the two that are diagonal. So 25x squared minus 70x plus 49, and we can't forget our negative 3. So combine like terms, which is just these two. So we end up with 25x squared minus 70x plus 46. And that is our answer. So it's just two functions that if we graph them, they would be the same right there. Okay? Now, let's go to the next one. Page 6. And I would like for you to try to stop for a minute and see if you can do this one. This is the same thing. The only thing is we're plugging in a value for x. Well, we'll do these two together. If you want to try them by yourself, pause the video, and you can try them and see if you got what I got. But, all right, so we're going to plug the 2. We're going to plug it in place of x. Plug in place of x. All right, and then the g of 2 is what we're going to plug into the x value. Plug in for x in f of x. right, so our g of x is 3, and then we don't put the x, we'll put the 2. 2, and it's going to be squared plus 2. Okay? This whole thing needs to go in for f of x. So f of x is 2. I'm going to put that there because that's our x, so 2x. So we have our x value, and then plus 3. Now, remember PEMDAS. 2 squared is 4. So we have 3 times 4 plus 2, and then everything else is going to stay the same. So 2 plus 3. So let's go ahead and finish out what's in parentheses here. All right, 3 times 4 is 12 plus 2. And I'm just doing this step by step. You don't have, if you can already figure this out, you're good. But 12 plus 2 is 14. And then we have plus 3, and then it's multiplied by 2. 2 times 14 is 28, plus 3. If you go ahead and do that, you're going to have 31 as your answer. Okay? Next one. We're going to plug negative 2 in for our x value in f. So we have 2 times negative 2 plus 3. Now this is, we're plugging this whole thing in for g, to the x value in g. If we look, we have 3, and then this is our x squared plus 2. All right, so remember PEMDAS. We got to do what's in parentheses first. So 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4 plus 3. And then we're going to square that plus 2, just bring everything else down. Negative 4 plus 3 is a negative 1. And it's going to be multiplied by 3. It's going to be squared plus 2. All right, negative 1 squared is 1. And then we're going to have multiply that by 3 and add 2. Negative 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2. And if we go ahead and find out what that is, it is 5. Okay. So all we're doing is plugging a value in for an x that it's given us. Okay? Just know that the second one always goes in to the value of x for the first one. All right? All right, so I want you to try these real quick, see if you can get them. And then unpause the video and see if you get what I've got. All right? So the first one, we're going to plug the g value, the g of x value, in for the x in f of x. So negative 4, and then we have x, so we're going to plug in g. X squared minus 2. And then plus 6, so we've got to put the rest of that down. All right, we need to distribute. So negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. And then we have plus 6. Combine your like terms, which are just these right here. And that's going to give you negative 4x squared plus 14. And you're finished. All right, the next one. We're plugging in f of x into the x of g. So we have squared minus 2. So x is what goes in the parentheses. We have negative 4x plus 6. All right, remember that squared means we're going to have to FOIL or box method. So right here, if you like FOIL, do FOIL. If you like box, do box. I'm just doing box because I know a lot of people tend to like the box. All right, so 36, negative 24x, negative 24x, and 16x squared. And these two combined. So 16x squared minus 48x plus 36. And then minus that 2. We need to combine the like terms, which is right here. So we end up with 16x squared. Let me do that in a different color. 16x squared minus 48x. And then 36 minus 2 is a positive 34. And that's our answer. All right, the next one. We're given the values to plug in. So we're plugging in negative 3 into the x value for g. So negative 3. All right? And it is squared minus 2. All right? And then our f, this is all that we plug in for the s, or the x and s. So negative 4 and then plus 6. Remember PEMDAS, negative 3 squared. It's going to be 9. Then minus 2. And it's still multiplied by negative 4 plus 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. And again, negative 4 and plus 6. All right, negative 4 times 7, negative 28. And then we're going to have plus 6. And if you go ahead and do that, you're going to get negative 22 as your answer. All right, last one. Plug in 2 for x and f. So we have negative 4. And instead of that x, we're using the 2 plus 6. All right, and all that goes into the x value for g, which is going to be x squared minus 2. All right, and then for PEMDAS, this is going to give us negative 8 plus 6 minus 2. Negative 8 plus 6 is going to be negative 2. Let's try to keep this the same color so you can see where everything's coming from. Anything that changes on this one's screen. And then minus 2. So negative 2 minus 2 is a negative 4. And that's what you should get. Okay? Sorry, no, I did not square that. We need to come back up here. Right here, I forgot to put something on there. So this is going to be squared, this is going to be squared, and then minus 2. So negative 2 squared is 4 minus 2, which is, let me move this over just a little bit. 4 minus 2, which is 2. And that's your answer for that one. All right. So you can see if you've got those. It should be fairly easy. Should be able to understand it pretty easy. If you have trouble, of course, they'll be practiced in class. But just look back over the video and stuff, and that might help you just watching it again.